You think everything is fine. You think your relationship has finally found its rhythm. The chaos of the early months has settled. There's comfort now, routine, security. You start to breathe again. And then, without warning, something changes. She starts doing things that make no sense. Little comments that sting. Arguments that come out of nowhere. Suddenly, your peaceful life becomes a battlefield, and you're left standing there, confused, asking yourself, what happened to the woman I thought I knew? Let me tell you something that most men never understand until it's too late. Every woman, every single one, will eventually test the man she loves. Not the flirty little tests from the dating phase. I'm talking about the deep, instinctual, subconscious tests that define the future of your relationship. And here's the kicker, she doesn't even know she's doing it. This isn't manipulation. This isn't malicious. This is biology. This is nature at work. It's not her conscious mind asking, can I trust him? It's her subconscious asking, is this man strong enough to lead, to protect me, to hold steady when life gets messy? Because that's what these tests are. They're nature's way of finding out whether the man beside her is grounded or fragile, whether he's stable or easily swayed. Now, you might wonder, why doesn't this happen in the beginning? Simple. In the beginning, you were a mystery. You had your own life, your own purpose, your own gravity. You didn't chase. You didn't beg. You had options, and that independence made you magnetic. But over time, something changes. You fall in love. You start to relax. You stop doing the things that made you you. Your world starts to orbit hers. You begin to prioritize her happiness above your own, thinking that's what love is supposed to look like. And at first it feels right. You think you're being a good partner. You think you're building peace. But her subconscious starts noticing something else. The man she admired for his independence has slowly become dependent. The man who used to lead is now following. The man who was once unshakable now bends to avoid conflict. And somewhere deep in her psyche, a switch flips. She begins to test. Not because she wants drama, but because her biology needs reassurance. It's not a conscious plan. It's a survival mechanism. See, for thousands of years, a woman's survival depended on being with a man who could protect, provide, and stay steady when the world got chaotic. So her nervous system evolved to check again and again whether the man beside her still has that strength. And the way she checks? Through emotional friction. She'll question your decisions, withdraw affection, create small arguments that seem completely irrational. She'll say things that trigger you not to hurt you, but to see what you're made of. And in those moments, you have two choices. You either maintain your frame or you lose it. You either remain calm, grounded, present, or you collapse, explaining, apologizing, begging for peace. Most men fail these tests not because they're bad men, but because they don't even realize they're being tested. They think, if I just explain myself, she'll understand. But she's not testing your logic. She's testing your center. She's asking, can you stay strong when I push against you? And if the answer is no, the respect dies first, then the attraction, then the love. See, in her subconscious mind, there are only two types of men, strong or weak, leaders or followers, grounded or reactive. There's no middle ground. And every word you speak, every reaction you give, is data her mind is constantly collecting to determine which one you are. Let me give you a real example. A colleague of mine Great guy. First year of marriage. He's still himself. He works out, has hobbies, spends time with friends. His wife would occasionally complain, "You're always busy." But he'd smile and say, "That's how I stay sane." And she respected that. She didn't love it, but she respected it. Then slowly, things changed. He stopped going to the gym to avoid arguments, stopped seeing friends to make her happy. Within 2 years, he'd gained weight, lost his spark, and lost her respect. Not because of how he looked, but because she could feel he was no longer his own man. He'd become what every woman fears deep down, a man who orbits her emotions instead of his purpose. And once a woman senses weakness, the tests intensify. She'll push harder, not to destroy you, but to find out if there's still something solid underneath the softness. You'll see this in different forms. She might pick fights over trivial things, accuse you of not caring enough, withdraw affection to see if you'll chase. And the more you chase, the more she runs. Because now she knows you're no longer leading. You're following her emotions like a lost child looking for approval. It's brutal, but it's true. A woman cannot truly love a man she does not respect, and she cannot respect the man she feels she can control. So what's the answer? How do you pass the tests without playing games or turning cold? The answer isn't to become distant or cruel. It's to become centered. You must be able to hold space for both her emotions and your own, without being consumed by either. When she's upset, you don't fix her. You listen. You stay calm. You don't justify or over-explain. You say, "I understand you're upset. I'm here when you're ready to talk calmly." And then you go, live your life. When she threatens to leave, you don't beg her to stay. You say, "That's your choice. I'm not going to force anyone to be with me." Not as a tactic, not as manipulation, but because you truly mean it. When she disrespects you, there are immediate consequences. You don't yell, you don't punish, you don't play power games. You simply remove your attention. And that, not anger, is what commands respect. Because attention is the currency of male energy. And when you give it away cheaply, you devalue yourself in her eyes. Now, a lot of men misunderstand this. They think strength means being emotionless, stoic, cold. It doesn't. That's just fear in disguise. Real strength isn't about shutting down. It's about staying open without losing yourself. It's about caring deeply, but not being controlled by your caring. The goal isn't to dominate your woman. It's to remain unshakable in your values, so she feels safe to soften in your presence. Because deep down, that's what she actually wants: a man who doesn't crumble when she storms. A man whose calm is louder than her chaos. And here's the paradox most men never grasp. When you stop needing her, she starts needing you. When you stop chasing her validation, she starts seeking yours. When you can walk away without fear, she'll do anything to make you stay. Not because you're playing games, but because your energy communicates something rare. I choose you, but I don't need you. That's the balance that ignites respect, trust, and attraction all over again. So, what's the work? The real work isn't to learn how to pass tests. The real work is to become a man who doesn't notice them. To build a life so full, so meaningful, that her tests barely register because your identity isn't rooted in her approval. Train your body, sharpen your mind, build your mission, cultivate male friendships, fill your life with things that matter, with or without her. Because when you become complete within yourself, You stop reacting to every emotional wave she sends your way. And when you stop reacting, she stops testing. Her subconscious receives new data. This man is solid. I can trust him. And when a woman feels that, she relaxes. She softens. She returns to her feminine essence. You don't have to demand her respect. You simply earn it through presence. So remember this. Every woman will test you. Not to destroy you, but to discover you. To see if the man she fell for is still there, beneath the comfort, beneath the routine, beneath the fear of losing her. And your response, not your words, but your energy, will answer that question every time. Be the calm in her storm. Be the gravity she can orbit. Be the man who doesn't lose himself to love, but brings love to everything he is. Because the moment you stop being afraid to lose her is the moment she becomes afraid to lose you.